Hi, this is Lauri from the Rasmus. May the rock be with you.
Lauri, hey, welcome to May the Rock be with you, mate. First time we've ever spoken, so a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks for
good.
having me.
No worries, mate. Now, the best news. You're headed to Australia for the very first time, which is amazing to me. So when you're coming to a country for the first time, how do you prepare for something like that? And what are the feelings like around it?
Well, always, the first time is always the first time, and it can only happen once. So it always has a lot of expectations and a lot of things like building up towards it. And well, I'm sure that the concerts will be amazing. Like I know some people have been waiting for us more than 20 years to show up, and finally we are able to do it. And I'm sure the feeling is mutual. We also are very excited. Uh, Australia is a beautiful country. What I've seen on TV,
Yep.
and like it's gonna be really exciting to explore the country and I hope we have some days off to just to hang out and really try to see something except the venue that we're gonna play.
That'd be awesome. Now, when you've not been to a country before and with 11 albums under your belt, how do you even begin to put a set list together that isn't 4 hours long?
Oh yeah, it's yeah. I think we have to really stop and think for that because I think it's a interesting. I mean, it's important to play stuff from the Dead Letters album when In the Shadows came out, and
Yeah.
people I think want to hear that stuff, and and since we've been around for 3 decades as a band already, so it's nice to show that what we've done even before that. When In the Shadows came out, a lot of people think that was our first album, but in fact, it was on our fifth album already. So like we had been around for quite a while before that. And so, and obviously we're excited about the new album ourselves,
Mhm.
and so seem to be the fans. So, we also want to present the band as we are in 2025, because I think we've been able to renew ourselves quite much in recent years, which feels good and fresh, and we feel really powerful as a band, as a group, since Empu joined us as the new guitarist about 3 years ago.
Cool.
A lot of good things happened when she came in and kind of brought back the spark.
Excellent. We love that. Now, how would you best describe a Rasmus live show, though, for someone who hasn't seen you before?
It's very energetic. Like we've always been like bouncing around the stage. Like it's like I don't know. It's just like it's fun to move to the music, and I do goofy, wacky stuff there all the time, and so does Empu too. Like she's really active, so it's a lot of energy, high energy shows. But also we have these moody parts. Like we do play. Now we've been playing this ballad song where we do a duet with Empu singing
Hmm.
the female parts, and like sometimes we take it really, strip it down and make it very like intimate and almost personal, and like to play with those moods. So yeah, and we've been working on a lot of the visuals for this tour now, trying to make every song like capture the feeling of that era when it came out. So like we have 3 decades of the band, so we would kind of dive into that imagery of early 2000s, what we used to have in the videos, and
Mm.
like all those symbols and like images. Like we kind of want to bring them back with the music. It's quite nice, and I think for some people even kind of nostalgic to see that and sort of realize, oh yeah, I remember. And a lot of people have taken the tattoos of the symbols or whatever. Like
Mhm.
it's quite nice.
Awesome, man. That's going to be awesome. Now, not only are you heading down to see us, but you've also just released a new album. So you've got Weirdo out now, which is cool. Tell us a bit about how the album came about and what does Weirdo represent to you?
Yes, weirdo is like word that has been around my life forever. I mean, when I was a younger kid, I was maybe called a weirdo, and it offended me. You know, I was hurt and I felt like I don't belong and I don't have really too many friends like me who were dressing up in the weird, vintage clothes and like having crazy hairstyles and makeup and stuff like that. But when I went to junior high, when I was about like 13, between 13 and 16, I made a lot of new friends. I met made friends with people who were like me. Like I actually met the band guys, the other members of the guys at that time, and a bunch of other guys. Like not so many, but like maybe 10, 15
Mm.
people, and we had this very united feeling at school, like being this freaky dudes
Cool.
and girls, and like it just like gave me strength, and I thought like it's okay to be like this as long as I have these friends with me and I don't have to be alone. And so that idea stick to my head. And now after 30 years, I kind of want to bring back that word in a very positive light.
Mm.
Like I've been a weird guy all my life and I've done pretty good. Like, you don't always have to follow the path, you've been expected to. And so like kind of just be yourself and dare to be different. And that's kind of the message of this album.
Yeah, perfect message too. Now, I have to ask about working with a couple of legends. You work with Marty Friedrichsen and Desmond Child, who you've worked with before. So, what does each of these musical geniuses, and I'll call them that, because what do they bring to the band and these songs that just blow you away every time?
Well, I think it's the best thing, like when you work with a great producer or a great co-writer, is like they can bring stuff out of you that you couldn't yourself. Sometimes I'm so full of ideas and I'm so unorganized with my thoughts, and like I'm kind of like that. I'm all over the place, and then maybe someone in the room can see a little bit like outside the box and sort of like arrange my ideas better. And that's what we do. Like I always have plenty of bits and pieces, and then we start developing those together. And it's very important that stuff comes from me and from the Rasmus. If we have outsiders in the sauce, and it's really wonderful to work with these guys because they're super talented. They have so much experience. They have so many good stories and so many good point of views. And not only musically, but like, they've lived a little bit longer than I have. They have experiences of life and other things that, I've been learning just to being with them. And, especially Desmond Child, he's like some kind of a Gandalf to me, like this old wizard that always puts me back on track when I start to, get lost or, somehow are not finding my way. And then, you know, he's been a great guy in my life also
Mm.
outside of music.
Yeah, I got to meet him 7 odd years ago, and I was almost more starstruck meeting Desmond Child than I was any other rock star I've ever met, because that guy wrote
Wow.
my favorite songs in the entire world. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yes.
phenomenal. Like, such a good guy. Now, you talked about 30 years, so let's go back to 1996 when you released your debut album. So now, almost 30 years on, is there something that you still do in the studio or your writing that you've maintained throughout those 3 decades?
In the writing, I think um, I have made progress. Like, since I've been able to work with guys like Desmond and, learning techniques and like that. It's, but you can never teach someone else to have the soul or the inspiration or the ideas.
Mm.
I think the best thing is just to keep an open mind and like listen to a lot of music. That's really at least works for me. Like all kinds of music, I listen to like metal stuff, and then I also listen to K-pop or whatever, Demon Hunters. Like it's a good fucking pop song. I love
Right.
it. And so like in my world, I combine all these elements and like I try to get a little taste of everything, and that's kind of creating my ideas, and that sort of like, I think that's something. But um, songwriting is like, the more you do it, I think the faster you get, and you learn, rhyming. You learn how to say things more on point and like more clear, maybe with more interesting ways to say it and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I mean, I don't think you should follow any like a book too much. Like, it really has more to do with the feeling, but
Yeah.
but but and then when it comes to studio work, I mean, obviously, uh especially like the gear has developed so much and
Yeah.
made such progress. Like, everything is easier. We could do a lot of stuff at home on our laptop, and like, like, there's a song on this album called Rest in Pieces, which kind of came at the very end of the the process. And I just got this idea one night. I woke up, uh started making the demo on my laptop, and like, I started recording the vocals on my own, on my little microphone, and like, and that ended up on on the album, and with the vocals I recorded, with the stuff I programmed and everything. So I was really like, um happy, because I think in the future I would like to participate more on the production side too, and
Oh,
like,
cool.
what comes to the equipment. And I've never been very good at like, using computers. But I mean, it's just getting more simple. And again, it's just technique, and then you still have to have the soul. You still have got to have the ideas, what to do with them. Like, even, like, people who use AI, the best ones I think are the ones who have really interesting ideas to approach it. Like, like, whatever this world is going to be in 50 years, I think still it's still about the original ideas that people might have
Yep.
at the background. What is the vision?
Yeah, certainly true. It's going to be a crazy time watching technology evolve, though. It's a scary thing. So we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes. Now, I, like many, was introduced to you when In the Shadows came out. So what do you remember when it took off for the band around the world with that song and with Dead Letters?
It was crazy, obviously. I mean, it happened very fast. First, I think we got a number one in Germany, and Germany is a huge country in Europe that affects every other country.
Yeah.
And then it started spreading like a disease, in just like days. It was crazy. Like, we get all these news, like, okay, the song is number one there, number one, number one, number
Wow.
one. Like, and I think it did pretty good in Australia too.
Yeah.
It was played a lot on the radio, and I feel so sorry that we couldn't make it there then.
Mm.
I can imagine like what we could already do there if we had come, 20 years ago. But
Hey, we're here
it's,
now. That's the main thing.
yeah, I know this is a moment. And in a way, I'm also kind of happy that there is a part of the world that we haven't been yet, and we haven't ruined it. So we can just like kind of start fresh. And it's an interesting thought, and very inspiring. Like, after 30 years of playing, like, we still have this one continent that is there for
Mm.
us to explore. And same thing with America. We've never had really huge success in America, and now we signed a deal with American label,
Cool.
and we have like interesting plans there. And it feels great that we almost feel like starting all over again, like starting from scratch. And it's very like, I get butterflies when I think about that. Like, it's an interesting um, position.
It's excellent. Now, over time, it can be very easy to say what can change. That's really easy to do. But what's the one thing that's always remained the same about the Rasmus?
I think the spirit of the band, this is really much based on like a friendship, and like, good vibes. Like even though our lyrics and like music is kind of moody and dark-ish, I think it's still um like we're always having a good time doing this. And it started off as a hobby for us,
Yeah.
and now later it's a job, I guess. And but to me, it still feels more like a hobby. Like now we are starting the tour on Monday. We are jumping on the bus, and it's going to be 8 weeks nonstop traveling, like all over Europe, and then like I can't wait. Still, after all these years, I feel very excited about that, and you know, jumping on that bus with my best friends from school, and it almost feels like a school trip, kind of. It's funny, like like time had stopped there 30 years ago in this bubble, and then we can always sneak in and like live in this other reality for a moment. It's really nice.
Awesome. A bunch of weirdos out on a school trip. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Now, I love doing this because I always get really good answers. Is there one song from your entire catalog that you think has been overlooked or should be listened to and doesn't get as much love as it should?
uh, there's a song called Holy Grail. We did that one in between some albums. I can't even remember when, but it was like maybe 5 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago. And it's a great song, but it's not on any of the albums. It just ended up being like a whatever between song. And I always thought like, oh, what a waste. Like it could have been such a great song. And, I think, somehow even the way we did it was kind of like fast, like, let's just put something out. And, sometimes you feel more for some songs that, like as a writer, it's kind of hard to say if they're really the best songs, but you might have personal connections to these songs, or you know, you might have this little geeky attitude towards like some little things that none of the big crowds would ever listen or hear. Like I might see some little details or hear some nice things that are mostly for my own ears. It's like, but yeah, that song I could say it's a
All right.
nice one.
I'll check that one out for sure. Now, lastly, what I do with everybody is I get them to look ahead to the future with a prediction. So I want you to finish this sentence for me. In 2026, the Rasmus will.
Play festivals in Australia.
That's awesome. Let's make it happen. Let's make sure it happens. It's going to be good.
I hope so. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Awesome, man. We can't wait. Lauri, thank you so much for your time, man. I can't wait for these shows in Sydney. I'm going to come and say good day, and I can't wait to rock out with you.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Nice
buddy. I'll talk to you
questions,
soon.
and have a good day.
You
Good
too.
night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching our interview with Lauri from the Rasmus. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video and subscribe if you get a chance. And also check out maytherockbewithyou.com for everything else.